Welcome to the Beer Den Podcast. Tonight we'll be drinking Lakefront Brewery's IPA.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Beer Den Podcast. My name is Ethan Hoopy.
And I'm Michael LaRoe. Tonight we're drinking another Wisconsin beer. They're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Lakefront Brewery. They were started in 1987. It all started with some sibling rivalry when owner Russ thought he could brew a beer better than his brother Jim. And it kind of went back and forth. They started entering into brewing competitions, and eventually they kind of figured out that they had a knack for it and started a company.
Well, definitely by the name, we can tell that this is going to be an IPA, considering it's
yeah,
called IPA. They didn't exactly get the most creative with the naming, but I mean, to each their own, I guess.
Well, yeah, we'll get more on that later. This beer, it was pretty hazy, and it had a kind of like a copper light amber color to it. I was expecting a little bit more of a gold color, so when it came out amber, I was a little surprised by that, but it looked good. Smell-wise, citrusy notes, floral, and obviously hoppy with it being an IPA. Yeah,
I would say it was very sweet smelling, which actually does kind of translate to the taste of it too.
Mouthfeel-wise, I thought it was very smooth, just a little medium dryness to it. Not overly bitter. It wasn't very aggressive, but at the same time, it wasn't very restrained. It was like that perfect medium of bitterness.
Yeah, I think the sweetness kind of helped to balance the bitterness, which actually I ended up liking a lot more than some of the other IPAs that we've had that have that very strong hoppy bitterness to it. I thought that this was very well balanced.
Carbonation was very low. Flavor-wise, again, a very flowery flavor. I felt it was a little resiny. Overall, greatly balanced.
One thing that I noticed about it was that in its sweetness, it seemed to have sort of a clementine or sort of a grapefruit taste to it that I really enjoyed. I thought it added an extra layer of complexity to it.
All right. So we base everything on 3 criteria: quality out of 50 points, value out of 25, and design out of 25. I ended up giving this a 36 for quality. I thought it was almost perfectly balanced between the subtle maltiness and the IPA hop flavor.
I agree. Like, I ended up giving it a 40. And it was kind of for the same reasons. It was just, it was so well balanced. The sweetness did not make it nearly as challenging to drink. Traditionally, I like beers that are a bit more subtle, a bit more smooth and casual drinking kind of experiences. And for an IPA, this was extremely well balanced, extremely smooth.
Very drinkable.
Yeah.
Value-wise, this came in at $9.99 for a 6-pack. I ended up scoring this a 22. I think if I would have scored it a little bit higher on quality, it would have got higher up on those points.
Yeah.
But definitely not a bad price for a 6-pack of this. And again, very drinkable.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I thought that I ended up giving it actually a 20 out of 25. And kind of the reasoning for that was just it is an extremely good price, but it is right there in kind of our average price range. So I didn't really feel like I could justify giving it much more than that 20. Like if it were
below, like,
yeah,
say
if it was a little bit below, I think it could have got a lot
you,
closer to that.
I think that's fair.
25 points, but
for design, I ended up scoring this an 18. It does have the call to the website. I like the coloring. It matches like what an IPA with the hops and everything, and they pick that hop green.
It's very thematic, yeah.
Yeah. They have an eyeball on the eye of IPA, but I've seen that in other beers as well, so it's not necessarily unique to it. And I'm really disappointed that they don't have like a unique name for it. Just calling it an IPA, it makes it obvious what it is, but at the same time, like these are craft beers. There's a reason we're going to these. We want like they're fun.
Yeah,
it's not just going and getting a 6-pack of Bud Light. We want something unique.
Well, and also just calling it an IPA doesn't make it very memorable for the consumer. Like, there's nothing to really make me remember this beer in particular. I do think it is a good beer, but I mean, especially if somebody were to given me this at a party or some sort of an event, I would have no idea really what to go look for. I would just know, oh, it's very citrusy, and that's
you'd
like
be
all
racking your brain over
of.
What was the name of that IPA I really liked.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it. It was some sort of IPA.
Yeah.
There's no description of the brewery or of the beer itself, and again, like it says it's an IPA. I'm assuming like not something super fancy about it, but.
Well, but then again, I mean, it does have a lot more citrus in it than I feel like we get from other IPAs. And the fact that it doesn't have a description kind of explaining what is unique about it, to me is just, it's such a failure on the part of the, I don't know, bottle designers or the label designers, or I guess the brewery in general, to not have that on there. I think that it's such like a fundamental thing for especially craft brewers. You know, when most people look for craft brews, they are looking for something that's unique, something that isn't just, you know, beer water, you know, it's not just your average Bud Light, you know. I feel like we want to know kind of what the experience should be like, what to expect with it. And yeah, just the fact that it doesn't have that, I don't know. I can't let it go.
In my opinion, I don't think having a description hurts. So it's something that should be on there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
how is it ever a bad thing to have a description of what what the taste
right.
is?
And even in this case, they could have put, you know, what hops did they use in it?
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it would have been better. What did you end up scoring it then for design?
I ended up scoring it a 16. Yeah, I couldn't let the fact that it didn't have a description go. There are some really good redeeming features with the bottle. You know, we talked briefly about the theme of it. You know, it does have sort of this green hoppy theme, and then it does have the APV clearly labeled on it, which is always good. And it does have the best buy date clearly labeled on the label. It's not even just like a print on the bottle itself. It's right there on the label. And I really like those things, but with almost every other beer that we've had, the issue has always been the fact that they don't have the best buy date, or it's not clearly labeled, but almost all of them have a description. So it's like, I don't know, it's almost more of an offense now for them not to have the description, but have, you know, than it is for them to have the, I don't know, the best buy and stuff.
Gotcha. I think that's all valid points. This one's pretty easy. We both ended up scoring it a 76. So this is a 76 out of 100 for Lakefront Brewery's IPA.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for listening to another Beer Den review.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. Links down in the description.
Subscribe, like, and share. And if there are any beers you would like us to try out, leave them in the comments below.
We'll see you on the next episode of the Beer Den Podcast.